Hey bourbon fans, I'm Tim the Suburban Dad, helping dads find great bourbon. So recently I went to the Bourbon Trail with my lovely wife. We had a great time. The experience was fantastic. Loved it, had a blast, can't wait to go back. I'd like to share some tips and tricks that we came across that would be helpful for the first time Bourbon Trail explorer. So let's get to it. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to hit subscribe so you stay tuned for all future content. And if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. So the Bourbon Trail, we stayed in Louisville, downtown Louisville. One of the first things, it might seem obvious, especially if you've been there before, obvious, but I've heard a lot of people talking about this, is that you have to plan in advance. You have to reserve tour tickets for distilleries weeks in advance. You can't expect to show up randomly on a weekend, just breeze in and expect to join a tour. That would be kind of like winning the lottery a little bit. Make sure that you're looking ahead. You book online. It's very easy. You just go to the distillery website and you can book online. Just make sure you look far in advance, especially if you're real particular about what time or day that you're looking for. We went to the Jim Beam Distillery and the Maker's Mark Distillery. Did tours of both. Both were great. I would say the biggest thing to be aware of when you're planning these trips is where are you going? Where do you really want to go? What distilleries do you want to see? And map it out. I love some spontaneity. I love plans, but I love spontaneity as well. The Bourbon Trail, you definitely need both. Where we went, we stayed in Louisville. Jim Beam is about 30 minutes south of there, and then Maker's Mark is another like 45 minutes southeast of Jim Beam. Jim Beam's in Clermont. Maker's Mark's all the way down in Loretto. So you really have to plan ahead. So we ended up driving over an hour from a hotel to get to the Maker's Mark Distillery, which not a big deal. It's a beautiful drive, but if you're wanting to be time efficient and know exactly where you're going and when, just be aware, everything is spread out on the Bourbon Trail. They're not all right on top of each other. Another thing to keep in mind when planning is the distilleries pretty much are Monday through Friday operation. At least that's what they said at Maker's Mark. I imagine the others are pretty similar. We could have seen them, working the line, filling the bottles and labels, all that good stuff, but they were closed because we went on a Saturday. So that was kind of a bummer. So if you're hoping to see that kind of stuff, go Monday through Friday during business hours. That would have definitely been a cool thing to see. I wish we could have done that. So in the future, it'd be something I'd plan ahead for. One of the biggest disappointments going to the Bourbon Trail was don't expect to just walk into the distillery and every unicorn bottle from that company is sitting on the shelf. That is not the case. Especially at Jim Beam, we walked in, we were hoping to get Booker's and I was expecting to see the little book on the shelf, that kind of stuff. As you might have seen in my other video, happened to get the last bottle of Booker's. One other person had already snagged the little book. Bottles of Baker's single barrel were gone quickly. Maker's, they had everything. There was no big deal there. They actually had everything that you would want. BRT 1 and 2, all their standard productions. Expressions. One interesting tidbit, when we stopped in at Evan Williams just to stop by and grab a bottle for a friend, there was a guy there that was asking for Evan Williams 12-year, and the employee said, we don't carry those in the store, gift shop. It was only for people who have been on the tour. So if you're searching for a hard-to-get bottle like that, consider going on a tour just to try and cover all your bases. Or if you know for sure that that's the case, then there you go. I was able to find, I could have bought all the Elijah Craig barrel proof that I wanted, all the Maker's Mark BRT 1 and 2, that kind of stuff, but nothing super rare. Went to a couple liquor stores, just little off the side of the road places. Great selection, horrible pricing. If you don't care about pricing, man, you're going to be in heaven down there. But if you're like me and you actually care about paying what a bottle's worth and not secondary or tertiary prices, saw Michter's Toasted Bourbon for $400. Originally supposed to be like $70, $80, somewhere in there. Anyways, You get the picture. Long story short, did not have any luck with the mom and pop stores. Unfortunately, because I'd rather give them the business, but not when they're charging that kind of pricing. Had the best luck at Total Wine. They had a great selection. They had some stuff that's real hard to get around here in Missouri, like Smoke Wagon, all the expressions there, and they were setting Weller Special Reserve out on the shelf, which again I don't care about, but was able to grab a couple bottles for friends. Those are some tips and tricks that would have been good to know. And again, when you're planning on where to stay, just keep in mind where you want to go, which distilleries, and take that into account to when you're staying at the hotel. Downtown Louisville, Michter's, Evan Williams, Angel's Envy, Old Forester are right there, but otherwise a lot of the more historic ones are outside of there. They're a little bit of a drive, so keep that in mind. Hope this helps. Hope you guys have fun on the Bourbon Trail. It's a blast. Until next time, cheers.